Cele. When Tuesday? No, Cele Wednesday. Sakhuluma phambi kwesiteshi la. Nasithuma into ezimbalwa.
Which one what?
Nasithuma into ezimbalwa. Nathi ama-van awekho police station. Nathi awekho ama-van police station. Nathi nifuna amaphoyisa azohamba etradweni la. Nathi nifuna abantu abangenazi incwadi undocumented bangabi khona la. Nathi nifuna abantu ababulela abantu baboshwe. Sathembisa, sasicommit ukuthi we're going to do those things now. One thing esayisho ukuthi uMinister we-Home Affairs masibuye uzoba khona la. Uye lo. Niyamazi ngoba sake safika ngaphambili. Okwesibili, the following day, kade sila estation uma nifuna kodwa anikwazi ukuhamba nonke kanye kanye. Manifuna ngaya niyobona imoto zenu ezu-16 ezintsha eziseke station. Ezu-16 lezo moto. Bese kuba ukuthi namhlanje uCommissioner esinaye la amaphoyisa azoba khona nakhona kwi-ground as we speak. Nawabala nathi nifuna ama-barret. Niyawafuna ama-barret. Ama-barret-ke akhona, I'm sure niwabonile. Akhona mgaqweni awu-20. Bese kuba ne-pick-up ephelele amaphoyisa ahlangene nakamasipala la asebenza la kule ndawo awu-120.
Ayanishaya.
Lawo maphoyisa akazuhamba la. Size sibuye sizoxoxa nani futhi ukuthi i-situation isishintshile yini. Akazuhamba kule ndawo amaphoyisa. Bese kuba khona umntungwa, umntungwa. Ukhumalo uphethe abaseshi eGauteng jikelele. Une-team yabaseshi ayilethe la ukuzobheka wonke amacala ale ndawo abantu ababulewe kwangaboshwa muntu. Esifuna-ke kade njengama-South Africans umuntu adala icala noma uyi-Zimbabwean noma uyi-South African ma uyi-criminal thina amaphoyisa sibopha ama-criminals noma wakuphi nawasekhaya la awuzuba yi-criminal bese sekuyeka ngoba sithi uyi-South African awuzuba sekuyeka ngoba sithi uyi-Zimbabwean noma uyi-Nigerian. Owethu umsebenzi amaphoyisa siwenforce the law. Now uloke eshilo-ke lo sisi bayishilo lento ukuthi intshontsho. I-leadership yenu labantu bengaphakathi bayazi siyasicela ukuthi amaphoyisa ethu athathe amantshontsho nisinike amalisti awo nizonika uMasimula manisaba nizonika uMasimula niwanike Motsoaledi niwanike uCele niwanike uMthombeni ngithi zonke lezo zinto nibanikela ukuthi sikwazi ukuthi sibanikela ukuthi sikwazi ukubuya sizoyilungisa but sithe futhi labantu abathatha amantshontsho sifuna lesinike nalabo abanika amantshontsho. Yebo. abawathathayo nisinike abawonikayo ngoba labantu bamantshontsho bawanika ngoba bangama-criminal ngoba bedayisa ama-drugs nabo so sinikeni-ke abathathayo nabanikayo okwesine esikushini uma
it's not our thing.
enye esiyishilo kusuka lezi nsuku 2 days kade sila amaphoyisa ngelanga lokuqala kade sikhona abophe abantu abawu-26 abawu-24 ngelanga lokuqala aba-undocumented bese babopha izolo ebusuku izolo ebusuku babopha abawu-30 labo bantu abakwazi ukubakhipha kufanele bahambise ku-Home Affairs ngoba u-Home Affairs onelungelo lokubaphindisa la bavela khona uma be-undocumented but enye-ke esiyicelile nesiyicelayo kunina nekufanele sivumelane nayo uma behamba bekhishwa abantu aba-undocumented kuzofanele nisinike ama-landlords ngoba lezo zinto abaphuma kuzona kufanele zisale ziyi-empty empty ngoba njengoba nina abanye benu niyahamba niyocollecta kulabantu enicomplaina ngabo la niyahamba niyocollecta ngoba bakhokha irent kunina abanye benu la nama-landlords la nizocomplaina ngabo bese niyasuka la niyothatha imali kubona uhambe ube yi-landlord yomuntu ongamazi ongakazi umbone ongalazi igama lakho ongamazi ukuthi uvelaphi mase kwenzeka izinto lapho bese ubuza ukuthi amaphoyisa aphi kanti wena ufukamele umuntu ongamazi asizaneni-ke ukuthi uma amaphoyisa ne-Home Affairs behamba bebheka leso simo lezo zinto zisale zi-empty i-landlord kufanele isichazele yona ukuthi ubani wakabani uma kuwukuthi awusichazeli sithathe lo muntu ongaziwa sithathe nawe esivumelane ngakho ukhona abaphakamise ukuthi kuney'ngadi la zokulima and satshela ukuthi ama-South African ayadudulwa abantu bangaphandle awabavumeli balima u-National Commissioner no-Deputy Provincial Commissioner nomasipala sithi abahambe bayovikela abantu baseNingizimu Afrika abafuna ukulima abakwazi ukududulwa abantu base-South Africa. It's important ukuthi amaphoyisa aprotecte nazo zonke izakhiwo zikahulumeni Home Affairs baba-protecte abantu base-South Africa baba-protecte nabantu abakhona ngokusemthethweni but bonke abantu abangekho emthethweni nabo bonke abantu abama-criminals siqale phezu kwabo so kubalulekile-ke ukuthi lezo zinto zenzeke amaphoyisa-ke azoqhubeka ne-operation hayi abona ukuthi amaphoyisa operation esizwa Home Affairs ukubachazela isimo sabantu abangekho emthethweni nabantu abasemthethweni ngoba bafani labo bantu abantu abasemthethweni abanelungelo lokuba khona la bafanele ukubuswa imithetho esibusa sonke kodwa abangekho emthethweni kuzofanele amaphoyisa abaphathe kanjalo lokusizana no-Home Affairs. So sengizodlulisa ke ngidlulisele kudokotela uMtsoaledi ukuthi yena ne-Home Affairs bafaka liphi ihlombe kulolu daba. Dokotela.
Abasonto amathethela athwele lithini ngawo. Ama-churches lithini ngawo acele ngapha. Abasonto.
Minister Cele, ukulethe ilothini shibukete siyasa. Akaswanela go di repeat. Referiche 4.5 hours. Referiche ba etapele ba lena ka mona. Ba di CPF, ba ruti ba di kreke di puso poliding. I've had the level of anger. We've been for these 4 hours. We have had horror stories. Horror stories. But by the bulletin, I had even old ladies who have got no reason to lie. But the story yes. The Queen. Reina Home Affairs. The immigration officers. J25. For 3 full months. Yes. Africa. Urdumelanga wona wakata ba immigration. Mangu sanjoba moki manga sinafala ubako. Exactly. That's what you are going to do. From there, we want after 3 months, kaore taberi dile mushumoma. Tatisha watu ba Home Affairs baba 3. Full time mo police station. Elo mtu asesi ngosa utshwenya sa Home Affairs. Uba buteka speed. Serious kupelanguru, don't take the law into your own hands. And we will know exactly what to do. Telling when Minister Cele will check on. Telling when Gassibula Elemo. Miracle or regular food stop. 3 weeks ago. Yes. We will go but yes. But we will and trace also. Little Holocamu. Whenever I even Banaka will cheap. But we will come to our whole village. We are meeting very cheaply or we are going to go. Yes. We went there. Don't take the law into your own hands. But media, I'm really asking you to be responsible. Would you really let our mother? Ubile munaute wa emela aruwe meti Zimbabwe community. I saw the level of anger I've never seen. Police metro because I'm reading a headline here from one of the newspapers. Home Affairs Minister Motsoaledi Home Affairs Minister Motsoaledi kicks him men out of government Diepsloot community meeting. Please. Everybody out of that meeting. That man was going to be killed if I didn't act.
Exactly.
There was going to be another corpse here, and we were going to make noise at government.
Exactly.
For why the government did not act. In front of 2 ministers, you want somebody to be killed.
Yeah.
And I can't go out to protect him. I didn't kick him out, they were kicking him out. That meeting ran into chaos.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to hear. That's the level of anger that we And the people of Diepsloot told us in this meeting, their level of anger that many of the people from here were killed.
Yeah.
And nothing was said.
Yes.
I'm not sure in the meeting, I'm just getting that to you. So I did not change anybody in the meeting.
Yes.
He was going to be killed. And I think I protected him.
Yes.
I'm very proud of that. So go and change your headlines and tell the people the truth.
Yes.
You are here to defend the truth. Okay, in conclusion, we will. Every person who has been house to house.
Yeah.
That's going to happen. The only thing we're asking you, don't take the law in your own hands because you'll be arrested. And you will lose your moral high ground. Like Motsoaledi. It's all over the papers, all over the world. So you must not do that. And we are here to work with you to make sure that things come right. Operation Operation Restore. Meaning we must restore life back to normal here in Diepsloot. And we won't leave this place until we do so. Meaning Premium Apura, what am next week in the MEC about human settlement. Baetamu, to another Wachago Faba to in Police.
Minister, thank you very much for we want to repeat we are going to like all of us, we are not all criminals, we are not all bad people. And those people that are doing the right. So there is one point that I forgot. Masimula said there is the issue ukuthi kunamaphoyisa ethu la angayiphathi kahle alalisa phansi lezimo. Siyawakhuza amaphoyisa kodwa siwatshela futhi ukuthi angayeki mayekusola ukuthi akwazi ukukubuza bese kuba sezandleni zakho ukuverifya ukuthi unawo ilama documents. Amaphoyisa azokunika ithuba zakuswara adiveza ama-documents. Mawungawaveze ke ama-documents inkinga ke le. So I want to repeat the last point. Don't take law in your hands, because umsebenzi wamaphoyisa is to enforce the law. Noma ngabe yenziwe foreign, noma ngabe wenziwe i-South Africans. Ours is to make sure that there is a law. We are not going to move out of Diepsloot until we come back to you and you are told by yourself which things but we are going nowhere. So we spend more time here. You go home, be safe. We're taking care of you. We're all over the street. So imoto ngacela amaphoyisa angatshoni ngemoto zethu. Intshontsho sitshelile ukuthi enzani ngentshontsho. Nisinike amaphoyisa ethatha intshontsho bese nisinika nabanika amantshontsho. Una sibathole bobabili. Bawunika amantshontsho bobabili amantshontsho la. Otherwise, thank you very much. We'll keep coming back.
Well, Bradan, that's the Police Minister Cele briefing the community members. But just a quick recap, Dr. Motsoaledi speaking about that in 3 months there will be immigration service officials who will serve and assist alongside the community and police officials here in Diepsloot to work hand in hand with them. But he also said that from the next after 3 months, there will be officials from Diepsloot who will be full-time employed at the Diepsloot police station to ensure that they can work hand in hand with the police stations. For now, what we know is that the police officials and the Home Affairs officials and of course government officials will be trying to establish a program called the Restore Program in the community, which aims at enforcing the rule of law in the community of Diepsloot. And although there's no time frames, the police officials have condemned the criminal activities that are taking place, particularly the issue of bribery amongst the community members and of course the police officials. We're just going to now try and go inside and perhaps maybe get a clearer message, because I do understand that the sound was a bit distorted as well. So one may not have listened carefully to what the message was, but on the ground we could actually once again try to recap what the police minister said, Pradan, just for the purposes of ensuring that the message is quite clear. The Home Affairs Minister, Dr. Motsoaledi, spoke about the 3 full months will be dedicated, the next 3 full months will be dedicated to Home Affairs officials who will work with the police hand in hand. 30 of them will be deployed to assist them, and then after 3 months, 3 of them will be permanently employed at the Diepsloot police station to work with the SAPS officials as well. So that's the message we're getting here, and we'll be getting a briefing from the ministers any moment from now.
Now from the Police Minister, Bheki, will elaborate further on the came out of this meeting. Let's take you live there now.
Okay, colleagues, let's just wait a couple of minutes so everyone can be there. And then we'll take it straight to Q&A, colleagues.
Minister Pulali Chiti from ENCA, maybe just a quick question. You spoke about the operation that will be enforced here in the community of Diepsloot. Can we get time frames around that as well? And then maybe just the second question again, in terms of the conduct of the police officials. There's been criticism around that in terms of how they've forced some of the locals and asked them to describe a body part in a native South African language. Is that something you condone as a police government official as well?
Minister Griselda Lewis from SABC Television News. Just are you confident that the discussions that you've had here this afternoon will quell the violence here in Diepsloot? Are you confident after your engagement here today?
Well, Minister of Home Affairs and DG, and they are here in terms of what we should be following when those people are arrested. But how long this is here, we'll be making assessment. The first assessment, it will be after 3 months. But all the time will come with the structures here, and we agree that yes, the situation has stabilized. For now, Chris, we are very confident. As you can see, you can come. I see most of you in the morning. I'm not here in the morning, I'm here in the midnight. So you can come here, and then you as you have seen this morning, most of you said situation has normalized. Ours, including this meeting of today, is the sustainability of the stability that you see here. And we are very sure, until everybody agrees, until the members of the community and their structures agree that the situation is stabilized, we are going to stay here.
Conduct of police officials, that question wasn't answered, Liranzu?
Yes,
okay.
I understand. Just give me a choice. Minister, there is a question from ENCA.
The manner in which some of the operations were carried out, there's criticism around how they would stop some of the locals and say they should describe a body part in native South African language as well, Mr.
Well, I don't know why they say they describe, they say Indololo, I don't know. But they have a right, Amapoisa, to stop you, and then the onus is on you. They take you to police station and give you the opportunity for somebody to give your documents, and for somebody to bring them at the station or yourself to produce those documents. They have a right. I don't know why they would go beyond and want a body part to be defined and all, but they have a right to collect you, and then the onus is on you to prove that indeed you are documented.
Linda, Minister from Newsroom Africa. Minister, you mentioned that police have a right to stop civilians and ask them for documents. Are they trained to be able to pick up whether documents are legal or not? And what sort of criteria do they use there? Number two, let's talk about the murder of Elvis Nyaki, right at the center of the protest that started on Wednesday. There seems to be no movement there. When are you going to make arrests, and when are you going to make arrests of the murders that you spoke about on Wednesday?
Maybe Motsoaledi puts this very well. I'm worried about this emphasis of the last victim, of the last person that was murdered. I'm very worried. And media keeps pushing that angle. 5 people were killed here before Elvis, who makes almost 6 people that died, and the same human being, the same body. So I'm really worried. We have brought 12 detectives that are stationed here, not starting only with those 6 and Elvis, but the last quarter of last year, which is October, November, December, 11 people were killed here. Only 3 people have been picked up and arrested. We are simply saying to the police that is unacceptable. Hence, we are putting top group of detectives. And please, when you ask us next time, ask about the matter at Diepsloot. I appreciate that your emphasis there, but as the police, we are dealing with all the matters and the cases that are there, including the mob, the mob killing, the vigilantism, and those that were killed before that we haven't found. But to come back to that question, we haven't picked anybody for those people that were killed, including Elvis, but we are beginning to make the inroads in terms of understanding what happened. And in not a very distant future, we will be able to crack the case. But please, let's talk about people that died in Diepsloot.
The question about, Minister, police being trained, are they trained to be able to tell whether someone is legal in the country or not, and whether their documents are legitimate? We saw them opening up documents and saying, well, this one is expired. What sort of criteria are they using?
We've got 182,000 police in the Republic of South Africa. Among them, there are advocates, there are doctors, there are PhDs, there are scientists that are running the laboratories, and there will be units here. There are several units that are here. The one that you would know when a TRT, that is, they call the Mama Parade. But we have detectives here. We have those that we will never see here. We have tracking teams here, those that are tracking those people that have been identified by the other structures to get on them. We have the police that are trained even on what you are saying, because not all the time where we have roadblocks with the Home Affairs officials. But this time, fortunately, we have been given those officials. So we will be working together with them. But that does not mean that there are no police that are enlightened in that situation when they need to do that. They are. But to make life easy for all of us and make everything more efficient, hence Home Affairs is here.
All right, Minister, I believe there's a question for Dr. Motsoaledi.
Yes, Criselda Lewis, Minister from SABC Television News. Dr. Motsoaledi, do you take any responsibility for what has taken place? I think anyone would appreciate, especially the Diepsloot residents, the 25 immigration officials that will be deployed here to Diepsloot for 3 months. What about the other areas? The same problems that are being complained about here in Diepsloot is the same issues that are being raised in places like Alexandra. The issue of porous borders is something that has been raised for the longest time in South Africa, and nothing has happened to fix that, that has given a lasting solution, at least, to the problems that the country is facing. This could otherwise creep up elsewhere. Are you going to deploy another 25 immigration officials whenever there's a problem?
Thank you for the lecture, Criselda. It's not true that we did nothing about the borders, and I reported here. we have just put up a border management authority, and I outlined how the border management authority is going to work. The truth is that there are no results yet because it's a new structure. I also conceded to the fact that this issue of borders was described and picked up by NICOC 10 years ago, the National Intelligence Coordinating Committee. Yeah, when they were doing defense estimates, they realized that there's a problem of the borders and recommended that we form a structure, the Border Management Authority. Unfortunately, and I'm conceding to that, it took 10 years for Parliament to pass that law because there's no general agreement among members. There was no general agreement among members of Parliament. You are aware that some say no border at all. Some say we're one country, the whole continent is one country. Others say close the borders, even oxygen must not come in. So there were those differences. But eventually the Border Management Authority is there. And the first group of border guards who are uniformed with your own emblem are being interviewed. When we launch it officially, we'll invite you to see that something is being done. That's number one. Number two, I spent 4.5 hours here with Minister Cele, listening to people one by one. The stories here which they are not telling you are horror stories. Because they were safer in a meeting where there was no media. They were able to talk openly. These people here are not angry about foreign nationals. They are angry about the thuggery that is going here. And they say it's been done by Zimbabweans. And the words that are being told, that your government is stupid, you are stupid people, your government is stupid, we'll never do what we are doing here, we are never allowed to do it in Zimbabwe. I don't know the truth of that, but that's what I heard. So when that gentleman stood up and said he represented Zimbabwe, they were going to tear him apart. I've never seen that level of anger before. And they made it very clear that the issue here is not because people are documented, it's the crime. They said Diepsloot was not always like this. And they talk about how they hide children under the beds in their own houses, how they are scared, how they are being targeted as communities. And the people were saying this, some of them are bishops of churches. Some of them are old women who are crying, you know, about what they are going through. And that is the issue we are going to resolve. And I told them that I don't want here, I was a doctor before, well I still am, but I'm no longer practicing. I know that if you put a wrong diagnosis to a disease, you're going to treat the wrong disease. And I asked them, if everybody here is documented, will you be happy? They said no, that's not the issue. The issues, the experiences we are going through in our houses, this criminality that is happening here. And I asked them, are you complaining of people from other countries? They said no. We have got no problem for race national, but this is what happening with Zimbabweans. Now, as I'm saying, whether it's true or not, and now they tipped us where to go to look for this type of things that we're talking about here. Now I'm hearing, Cele, from what you say. You want to say Minister Motsoaledi must take the responsibility for the death of Elvis.
No, I did not say that, Minister. I said
you're heading in that direction.
No, I did not say that.
Okay, fine.
I simply
my apologies to
someone has died.
No, yeah, but if not someone has died, some people have died. Yes. Yes. Why do you say someone? Yes. People have died here, yes. And that's why these people are crying, because some of them are relatives. And they told us, and I repeat the question because I asked them, if everybody here is documented, will you be happy? They said no. The situation goes beyond that. It's an issue. It's not an issue of documentation. It's criminality. And they stood one by one to tell us what they were told in their houses when these crimes were taking place. It's not easy for any woman to be raped in front of their own husband with a gun on and children. But these are the stories they told us. And they said they believe, they know that is Zimbabwean nationals who are doing that. So these are the issues we must face head on. We can't put our head below the sand for fear that will be labeled. Like what I see a Sowetan trying to do, already saying I chase somebody here because he's from Zimbabwe. No. He was chased by the people, and if I didn't go out, you'll be telling us about 2 people who died, because those are the only ones you recognize when they die. That's what you're going to ask us, and say in front of 2 ministers and a commissioner of police and all that. I was trying to prevent that. And I did so, and I'm very proud that I've done so. That man will not be alive if I didn't go out to make sure that he's put in the hands of police, and I advised him to leave the meeting because there was no way he was going to go back there. We're not going to hold those people back. The level of anger is amazing. You could touch it, you know.
Minister, maybe just a recap before I give to my colleagues from ENT again, and Mr. Bheki, have we seen an increase in terms of the criminal activities that have been conducted by undocumented foreign nationals? And maybe just for clarity, with the 5 people that have been murdered, how far are the investigations, and are arrests imminent from what is going on there as well?
Let me put it this way. 11 people. I said there were 4 people that were picked up, 4 people that died between October and December. Unfortunately, people that died here are South African, and all picked out are foreigners. I want to end there. I'm not going to mention nationalities, but they are all foreigners. Those that have been picked up for murder. So we are asking the question, have you seen the increase? If that is not the increase, I don't know what is it. When 11 people died and you pick up all South Africans and you pick up 4 all foreigners people. So let's end there on that. So this anger that Motsoaledi is talking about is really founded on some of these areas as you deal with these matters. But we want to emphasize this point. We are not going to be chasing foreign criminals or South African criminals. We'll be chasing criminals. We detect much later where to come from, but we are chasing criminals, and it's exactly what we've told the community here, that they shouldn't think that South Africans that are causing criminals are going to be treated with soft hands. No, we're going to be hard to all criminals. But when each time you find a person that has caused murder and you find that is not South African, it does cause this kind of anger. And as he says, at a certain given point, we'll have to listen and respond accordingly. And we must make sure that South Africans themselves, they see that we are responding so that they don't take law in their hands, of which we have told them not to. And if they do themselves, they become criminals and they will be picked up. So that's a situation that we want to put.